Welcome to the Scoop School podcast, where we tackle your conundrums about the retail ice cream and frozen dessert business. And now, here's your host.
He takes his shakes without the cherry.
The ice cream bloke and self-appointed headmaster of Scoop School, Steve Christensen.
G'day ice cream lovers, thanks for tuning in to this episode of the podcast / simulcast if you will, both in video and audio. Nice to have you here. Thankful to our episode sponsor, which is iRice & Co. Again, you've got to talk to Rod Orange. He's one of the true gentlemen of the ice cream flavor business. Been in the business, again, is second generation, and he really knows his stuff. And since he's come on board at iRice, they really have such a great flavor profile of flavors, extracts, purees, toppings. You need to go to iriceco.com, iriceco.com. Thank you for your sponsorship. Today I want to talk to you about heat shock. And it's not the heat shock that we're experiencing when we walk out of the door here in St. Louis, Missouri, and it's 105 degrees at the tail end of July, early August. We're talking about the heat shock that happens when your cold, frozen product hits another surface that is not the same temperature. So let me give you an example. When we extract out of our batch freezers, we're more than likely extracting out at a temperature of product that's anywhere between 18 and 22 degrees. So you've got this beautifully formed and frozen premium ice cream, gelato. If you're talking about custard, we're also talking about a frozen custard, soft serve, anything that we're extracting out of that we're going to then either blast, freeze, or thaw. You really do need to make sure that the container that you're extracting into is similar to, if not the same temperature as the product that you're extracting. So let me give you an example. Let's say I'm using one of the batch freezers here behind me and I'm extracting a chocolate hazelnut gelato out, and that product temperature as it's coming out of the batch freezer is about 18 degrees. And then I get my 72 degree bucket that's sitting on my shelf over here in my storage area, and I drop that underneath the gelato. As that 18 degree temperature product comes out and hits this bucket, this 72 degree bucket, there's going to be what's called heat shock. And that's when the temperature exchange of the product hitting this particular surface that's 72 degrees or sometimes even warmer in the back storage room of your business, you'll get a basically melting point or a melting surface that's basically coating the walls and the bottom of this container. So you're really doing yourself a disservice by not chilling down or freezing these containers before you extract product into them. Now, whether it be a container like this is a 1.5 gallon bucket, whether it be one of these gelato pan inserts or sleeves, or really anything that you're extracting your product into, you've got to have it in the freezer. If not the freezer, at least put it in the refrigerator if you don't have room in the freezer. Now, the same thing goes for anything we're putting into our ice cream. So if I'm doing a cookies and cream, those chopped up Oreos or what's the other term for Oreos? I know you're saying it as you watch this. It's a terrible name. Anyway, those cookies, the name escapes me. Anyway, it'll come to me as soon as I finish off this episode. But it sounds like a chemical kind of thing. Anyway, Hydrox. Thank you very much. Thank you, ice cream gods. The Hydrox or the Oreo cookies, if they are not at least refrigerated, if not colder, you're going to get the same thing as you put those particulates into your ice cream. There's going to be a melting around that particular product. So whether it's cookie dough, whether it's M&M's, Snickers, or Oreos, or Hydrox, or anything else you're putting in the ice cream, it really does need to be cold, if not as cold as it can be. Now, it's hard sometimes when you're variegating and putting a caramel ribbon or a strawberry ribbon. You can't have it too cold, otherwise it won't extract out or come out of your squeeze bottle. But you really do need to be aware of what heat shock is and how it can affect the quality of your ice cream. So, very simple tip for today's podcast: make sure that all of your containers are in the freezer, if not the freezer, the refrigerator, and anything that you're putting in your ice cream as a variegate or a particulate, it also needs to be frozen, if not refrigerated. Thanks for tuning in. If you want any other tips about making ice cream, we actually have a great module for batch freezing. It's called Batch Freezing Fundamentals. If you are batch freezing ice cream or you want to get into batch freezing ice cream, I would suggest going to scoopschool.online, clicking on that batch freezer fundamentals video series and have a look at that. It really is some great content. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on iTunes, and we'll see you in the next video.